Hi, it's Louise at Spiral Bright Insight. I wanted to talk about a specific star in this video, and it is one that will play a part in the new moon in Scorpio, which is coming up on Friday of this coming week. It is a star that Mercury has recently activated in its transit, and it is a star that the Sun is going to align with in a conjunction as well a couple of days after the new moon. So this is really strong energy, and it's interesting because it is not a star that I have particularly connected with very much. It is also not really particularly well known, or certainly not from, it's not one of the more can't really use the word mainstream, but when we're talking about fixed stars and star seeds, this isn't always one that comes up. However, it is talking to me with great depth, so I wanted to sort of bring it to you and just maybe explore a few maybe alternative or additional meanings and energies that come through. So the star I'm talking about is a Crux in the Crux constellation, and this is the Southern Cross. Now, this constellation is very well known because it features on a lot of the national flags for countries within the Southern Hemisphere. But it is not visible for us in the north. And, like I said, it's not one that I've ever really connected with, despite the fact that it is actually opposing my part of fortune in my natal chart. So, this is energy that potentially is going to come online as my consciousness grows, as I sort of move through this lifetime through the opposition, and it's certainly that is certainly the case, or that's what I'm finding. And through this transit, and this star is in the Scorpio sign. So I guess, I've talked about how Scorpio season this year is particularly strong and powerful because Scorpio's ruling planet is in the anaretic degree of Capricorn, and this is Pluto, of course, that we're talking about. So Pluto is intensifying and enhancing any sort of Scorpio energies at this time, and as we move towards the Scorpio new moon, it is getting even more stronger. And of course, when we're working with Scorpio energy, it is very much about transformation, but it also requires us to really sit with and look at and explore our shadow side, and I know that's coming up for a lot of people as well. So let's talk about a Crux, because it's really interesting, and there's some really beautiful themes that come through with this star energy. So it is currently at 12 degrees 12 minutes of Scorpio. So very much linked to water. It's said to be a water planet, but it's not so much sort of, the beings that are connected to a Crux that I'm interested in, because when I'm working with Galactic Astrology and interpreting a chart, I'm very much interested in the signature of that star, the traits that it is possibly lending, the gifts that it is bringing through, and some of the themes and the energies that it is activating for you and for us all in the chart. And obviously, this is a star that is being activated through transiting Mercury. We've already gone through that, through transiting Sun. It is playing a part in the new moon chart and with a 3-degree orb. So I will be talking about that in my new moon video. But, when we are working with a Crux, instantly we've got this image of the cross, of two paths crossing each other, of meeting in the middle. And so, instantly, I'm kind of thinking about, the masculine and the feminine energies coming together, the potential for sort of the separation to come together and for us to be able to meet in the middle, and acknowledging, that there are two different paths or different forms or different states of being, but a Crux sort of brings us the ability or the invitation to find that sort of meeting, that common ground where we can all sort of stand in a more sort of neutral stance and neutral position, and of honor that there are opposing opinions or opposing states of being, but actually it is about finding that middle ground, that meeting point, that crux. So, we've got sort of that imagery straight away. Obviously, the cross is very much linked to religious symbolism. In Christianity, we have the cross, the crucifixion story. So again, there are themes of victimhood, of crucifixion, of sacrifice, of having to go through extreme pain, extreme grief, extreme loss potentially, in order to find the light to be reborn, much in the way that Christ was when he died on the cross. There are themes of devotion coming through with this star, and as I said, an understanding that where there might be pain, and pain is part of the human experience, we cannot move through this human existence without encountering and without experiencing and without working with pain. It makes us realize and gives us the awareness that there is always purpose to the pain, and that there will always be a higher meaning, even if it is not always instantly obvious, a gift in the challenge, a gift in the pain. Because we are working with Scorpio energy, there is this real sense of deep healing, but also transmutation, transformation. And obviously, regeneration comes through, rebirth, and that is brought through with the symbolism of the cross, with the story of Christ. Again, with this star, it is about having this awareness that we may change form and things may shift and change, but there is always an inner light that cannot be extinguished. And there's also a real sense of, of having to face our fears, and which, ultimately is our deep shadow side. But that, when we may get to what we think is the end, actually, we are just stepping into another sort of version of ourselves, and that, we have to be able to surrender to that point. We're reminded that the end is never the end, and that we will always, continue, albeit in a different form. This is bringing us strength, resilience, the ability to face challenges, to understand that we will always experience our greatest growth through adversity and through challenge, and that is part of our human experience. Now, with the crux, we also have the notion of an anchor. So again, anchoring us in to our soul journey, keeping us steady, keeping us grounded in many ways. Even though this is falling within a water sign, there is a sense of keeping steady under pressure. As a crux has been used as a navigational tool for eons, there is this sort of symbolism of hope, of faith, of coming home to the self, of a crux being a guide for many, again, so that's a really beautiful sort of role and trait coming through with this star. I'm also drawn to the fact that the word crux itself, through this constellation crux, what does crux mean? And obviously we use this word to get to the crux of something. It is the heart of the matter. It is the heart, what lies deep within, what is important, what is that sort of if you're trying to get to the crux of something, you're trying to find the meaning. And again, this star really helps us to connect to the meaning of life, the heart of the matter. And through that, I'm led to really explore how ultimately we are here to connect to our inner light, but that in order to carry our light within this human sort of experience, within this 3D realm, we need to have it encased and carried within a vessel, a human body, our physical body. And it is bringing us back to the importance of the human body as a vessel to carry and to hold our light, our soul, our higher self. And we sort of often talk about having the body is a temple, but actually the presence of this star really does bring that home to us, because we cannot experience or that is involved in the human sort of life, the human path, the human journey, if we are not physically here. And it is about having this beautiful opportunity to bring our light down into this realm, into this 3D realm, to support the process, to support the ascension. But to be able to ascend fully, we need to descend, we need to be embodied, we need to come into the body to fully ground and anchor our light into the body, into this 3D physical realm, in order that we can ascend and move up and out. And again, that might sound like a real sort of like a contradiction, but actually, a crux really reminds us that this is our path. It is about coming home to ourselves, coming within the body, grounding that energy in order so that we can then move forward and transform and regenerate into a much higher, much more beautiful version of ourselves. So, this is really being devoted to our bodies, to understanding that they are sacred, and that we have to honor them, and we have to look after them, and we have to see how sacred and divine they are, and not just to be cast away or to be mistreated or to be ignored and to be sidelined. Ultimately our bodies are like the main act of this show. And again, that might sound really weird, but it was what was coming through really, really strongly. And of course, we are working with the energy of the 8 in 2024. Scorpio is the 8th sign, and I have been repeatedly reminded about the importance of being in the body, of being embodied, of coming in and being able to sort of combine that spiritual self with the physical side, which is ultimately what I'm talking about. It is bringing the two together so that we descend to be able to ascend, and that just keeps coming through. So we also have, with Crux, Crux is a crucible, a container, and again, coming back to the theme of regeneration, of rebirth, of longevity, I'm reminded of the Holy Grail, and the fact that so many people across history have tried to seek out the Holy Grail, but really, what is it? This is like the understanding and this real sort of innate wisdom that actually we are eternal, and even if we do change form physically, our light is going to last forever, and our soul continues, regardless of what form it takes, what sort of star it chooses to incarnate in, what role it chooses to take on in order to serve. This is eternity in action, this is infinity. And again, with this beautiful sort of symbolism of the crucible, the crux, we're also reminded of alchemy, spiritual alchemy, awakening to our true nature and the truth of who we are. So again, this is about inner illumination and being able to really hold on to that and connect to that inner wisdom. Now, I'm also drawn, when I was sort of thinking about the sort of the pattern of the cross, I suddenly realised that if you join the 4 corners on the outside, you have a diamond shape. And, again, I've been working with diamond energy a lot this year. And for me, this is about, being reminded that if you go to the outer ends of each path, it doesn't matter which path you take, because you will always have that core inner light holding you at your center, pulling you back to source whenever you choose to come back. But also that we are here on this human journey to go down all these different paths, to try lots of different sort of outfits on for size, to try lots of different routes, to try lots of different ways, different experiences. But ultimately, we have this crux, this inner light holding us and guiding our way, shining our light, almost supporting us and cheering us on. And as we sort of go out and try all these different routes, we do create this this sort of image of the diamond, the shape of the diamond, and and that is the jewel inside. So it is as if like it is the journey. This is what I'm trying to get to. It is the journey that is of utmost importance. We often think as humans, you know, working with soul purpose, we want to know what is our destiny, where, you know, where are we trying to get to, what is our ultimate goal. But actually, by doing that, by focusing on that, we miss the gold that is inherent in the journey, in the path that we walk, and ultimately that is what is most important. So again, it is about staying on the path and choosing all these different options and different routes. You know, we can never make a wrong choice, because it is that is the jewel, that is the diamond, that is the gold, and that is what it is really important that we connect to and honor, because that is, you know, that's why we're here, that's why we've come, that's why we've chosen all these beautiful lifetimes to experience all the different ways, all the different paths that there are. But ultimately, you know, the gift is in the journey. You know, we have to walk every path in order to get back to ourselves, to that light, to that diamond that we hold inside. Yeah, and of course, you know, the diamond can also be seen as a kite, and a kite is very much about sort of flying up, you know, having that freedom, that lightness of being, allowing the air, the energy to sort of dictate which way you flow, and also, you know, having that bigger picture, which again, you know, is such a valuable part of this human journey, being able to connect with your higher self, to see things from a much higher perspective, which brings you out of the sort of mundane victim sort of mentality and that attachment to suffering. It's when it's having this different perspective, and to understand that there is, as I said, you know, when I started, so much purpose in the pain, in the suffering, in being a victim, because ultimately, you know, this is about soul growth, and this is about you know, having this opportunity to experience all the different elements of being human in order to grow. I hope you know, that has given you sort of some other ideas about how to work with Crux, with the Crux. So the constellation is Crux, the star, which is the star at the bottom of the cross. The alpha star is called Acrux. If you have a crux in your star chart, in your galactic astrology, you know, this might be this will be an energy that you are already working with, depending on which sort of planet or angle it is activating. But certainly, you know, it's coming through really, really strongly for us at a collective level as we move into the start of November. You know, again, you know, we are deep in Scorpio season, so this is very much about facing shadow, but also acknowledging that where there is shadow, there is huge amounts of light, and really being able to start to bring those together and integrate them in order to find that wholeness that, you know, so many of us have become so disconnected from. And ultimately, you know, it's that disconnection that is our greatest wound. That separation from who we are, from source, from our inner light, is our greatest wound. But the truth is, it is only an illusion, and for as long as we keep sort of buying into and committing to that illusion, we will perpetuate it. But the second we realize that we never lost that light, we never lost that connection, and it's been there all along, that is when all the separation and division will literally dissolve, and we can step into the wholeness of who we are and find our way back home. So yeah, I'm going to leave it there. I am going to be coming on with a video about the new moon very soon. I've got all my notes. I just need to record it and edit it. So that will be coming out. So keep an eye on that, because again, you know, there's so much to say about this new moon, and you know, some of the really powerful energies that are coming through. But I'm going to leave it there. Thank you so much for watching. You can find out about me and my work at spiralbright.co.uk. Please like the video if it's resonated, share it, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. And I will be back very soon. Thanks for watching.